Hey, Falcon Nation, it's Todd Fitzwater here with Firestone Falcons All Sports Boosters, and I'm joined today by head coach Joe Moxon and assistant coach Mike Deese of the Firestone Falcons softball team. Gentlemen, how you doing today?
Good. Thanks, Todd. Doing well.
Doing well. Doing well.
Great. Well, great to have you guys. Hey, just want to touch base, coaches, and kind of see what's going on these days. I know we can't engage our athletes face to face, and with that brings challenges, but also could create some type of camaraderie amongst your team. Can you kind of talk to me about what you're doing to engage your athletes currently?
We've definitely been taking advantage of the electronic media form. Coach Mike's been spearheading this, thankfully, so he can provide some more details.
Yeah, that's because you've been painting all week.
I've been painting all week and a half.
No, we've set up workouts to where we send a workout to the girls every morning, and hopefully they're doing them. But we've been engaging that way. We text a different workout, and the workout, it's simple. We just pick somebody's name for the day, and then it matches up with a different exercise. So we've been doing that. We've reached out to them via text just to check in on them, see how they're doing. We created a video where they had a virtual game of catch. It's called the Have a Catch Challenge. It was kind of going around by the college softball teams. And then we did that. And then we've been having Zoom meetings. We started those on Sunday, and we're going to do those on Sundays and Thursdays, so twice a week to get the girls together.
From a coach's perspective, Coach Moxon, what's it mean to you in order to reach out to your athletes? I mean, what's the importance of doing that during this really unparalleled time? I mean, what does that do for your athletes?
Well, we started and built up so much with the practices we had so far that we hate to have it drop off in any way, wherever it leads here at the end of the school year. Especially with such a young team, we're laying a good foundation now for next year, worst case scenario. So we just want to kind of keep them engaged, keep them active, I guess give them some hope even throughout this time we're all keeping to ourselves.
Okay, very good.
And to go along with that, aside from the softball stuff and the momentum we were gaining there, we were building a really good softball family. The girls and the coaches, the staff, we had a great thing going, and everybody was coming to practice. Everybody was exciting. It was just so heartbreaking for us because of the family that we had and the group of kids we have. That's the biggest disappointment for me, is not seeing them every day.
Right, and interestingly enough, it's kind of odd. Actually, this year is kind of an off year. We only have one senior, and it just happens to be your daughter, Coach Moxon, B. How is she feeling in this time with the fact that she kind of lost her senior year, to be honest with you? How is she getting through that?
Well, it's definitely tough. She's been, early on, it's definitely kind of a lot of grieving. Definitely hard to kind of come to grips with what's going on. She's definitely been doing the workouts, kind of hyper-focused with the workouts still. And when the weather allows, we're out in the backyard practicing pitching. She's been hitting off the tee in the garage if the weather's bad. So she's still trying to stay somewhat focused, but it's definitely hard.
How is she staying connected to her peers right now? What types of medium is she using? Because I know we got to follow the government's guidelines and Governor DeWine's in this no contact, because it's such a virus that it's easily catchable. So how is she staying connected to her peers?
Well, it's definitely tough for her. Even it's tough for individuals like her who I guess generally aren't as outgoing for engagements. So she's definitely lacking in that regards.
Okay.
To say the least. So I don't know, it's a work in progress. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
I know that the team has a group Snapchat that they've been pretty active on.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's cool. Let me ask you guys this, coaches. What are you doing individually within your families to stay engaged? And And what have you found under this new norm in the way in which you interact as a family?
From my standpoint, it's been a roller coaster. You've got two disappointed girls that are seeing the reality that, number one, they can't go to school and be with their friends for the rest of the year. It's hopefully that doesn't happen, but it's looking that way. And number two, you've got two girls that are disappointed they can't have a softball season, and it's been a roller coaster for that. But we've kept positive through this, and we've played catch, we've played pepper, we've worked out, we've done things, but it's been a roller coaster for sure.
Sure, Coach Moxon.
I think, well, for us, my kids are happy they aren't at school. So I guess that from that perspective, that's okay. But, for B, my senior, who was burnt out as it is, like, this is even more reason to, like, be done. And it's hard for even to do the online work. She's so fried. It's really just missing out on the softball, which has been the toughest part for her. We've been doing some projects around the house, and I try to get them helping me, which hasn't worked out so well. But I guess we're just like everyone else trying to figure this out day by day.
Sure, and it's not just our student athletes at Firestone; it's the individuals in performing arts. Putting all that effort into their plays that were coming up, and so it's not just student athletes, but it's also the arts and then the robotics class. I know for my son, for example, who's a senior, he was a wrestler, so they didn't get to finish out their season, the winter sports. And then on top of that, he was involved with Business Professionals of America, and they had a state meet, which was canceled. So it touches every aspect of our education system, and it's difficult for our students. But, that's the one thing in life is change. And the one thing that I found is that we have to be resilient. And how do we become resilient? When we use that word, and it's kind of a buzzword, what does the word resilient mean to you as coaches when you're talking to your student athletes?
Well, got tough questions here.
Yeah. Hold on, let me go Google what resilient means.
I don't know. We're again just trying to figure it out day by day. It's hard, especially as a coach, kind of seeing your daughter's senior year just be wiped away.
Sure.
It's also tough to see probably, our team's best pitching staff, which since B was injured last year, we never saw the fruition of that. And so we were hoping this year was the year, and really we'll never see what could have been. Probably two solid pitchers this program will have seen for a long time. So, it's tough, but I don't know, just I guess I try not to think about that too much and just control what I can control.
Right. What about you, Coach Deese?
We've at our house, we've said, Joe just said it, we've said a big buzzword here is control the controllables. And, these things are out of our control. And like I said earlier, there's a lot of disappointment, but, disappointment's okay. And you work through disappointment. Disappointment is good for you. It's healthy. It means you care about something. And that something is taken away, and it's not fair. Life isn't fair, but it's just, we're dealing with it like everybody. And, you can't feel sorry for yourself. You gotta move on and be resilient through these times. And because for the rest of your life, this stuff is going to happen. Well, not exactly this, but you're going to come across bumps in the road and potholes, as we know them in Akron. You're going to come through these things in life, and it's just dealing with it now as a kid. If you deal with it well now, you're going to be set up.
Right. And it's interesting too when we talk about Beatrice and her injury last year, and then putting all the time and the effort into getting herself set up for success, and then can still continue to do that, hoping that maybe we do have a season, and it's still a possibility, although slim, we may have one. But I think the way in which we stay resilient for someone such as B, for example, is knowing the lengths and the efforts that she went to get herself back to good so that she could pitch at a high level. Although she's not pitching right now, it's the time and effort she put into it. I think that's a win for her. Would you agree with that sentiment, Coach Moxon?
I would like to think so. I mean, hopefully, it pays off one way or another. I mean, oftentimes you don't know in the moment how it's going to pay off, but, it's at least keeping her focused at the moment, if anything.
Sure. And absolutely. And one thing we want our kids to do too is, there's a lot of good things in life. Although we're not in school right now, we can't necessarily interact face to face. There's a lot of good that's still left in the world and all that. And it's those types of things that we need to focus on that puts us in a positive mental attitude. And I see the way in which you as coaches and your coaching staff before this happened, and especially since it's happened, I think what you guys are doing is an absolute model for those out there as well of engagement, giving them positive feedback, giving them the training sessions that they need to go ahead and execute on their own. That's the type of stuff that keeps our student athletes engaged, and that's what sets our programs at Firestone apart from others. Coach Deese, you were telling me yesterday, you and I have been volunteering with Your Pizza Shop Akron. Akron Meals for Kids is the hashtag. And you were telling me about a local school. We're not going to name the school, but the things that you guys are doing, they simply can't do because they don't have the camaraderie. Is that right?
Right. Yeah. I said, yes. Another school I know, they reached out to me, and I'm trying not to name it, but they reached out to me and they said, that video was awesome. And I said, you guys should do it. And one of the coaches said, we don't have the camaraderie. We don't have the engagement that you guys have. We can't do it. And actually, Todd, since we talked about that, another school did reach out to me, Copley, and they're going to do it. And they said, we don't have, how do I do it? And I said, why don't you guys send me the videos, take them, send them, and I'll put it together for you. So Copley's going to be having a game of catch, what I call it, catch challenge. So, but the other school, yeah, it's unfortunate.
What's interesting is in this time, it's not about, the competition's never going to go away because I want my video to be better than your video and so on and so forth, right? Or my TikTok better than your TikTok and all that. But how neat is it that another school could reach out to you and say, how are you doing it? And you as coaching and you as a coaching staff are willing to provide them the answers to those questions. Because at the end of the day, we're all on the same type of team. Right. And that's true. And as coaching, it's all about the kids. It ain't about us. We've already earned it, right? So it's all about these kids. So by extension, you're providing their coaches and those kids with an opportunity to come together as well. And that's pretty cool, guys.
It is.
Yeah.
It is cool.
And Todd, I'd like to add, coaching in any sport in high school, as you're aware of, it's definitely a year-round endeavor for which you get paid very little. The softball, we started off-season conditioning with October, Mike?
Yeah, at the end of October.
And that's 2 days a week leading up to tryouts. And then once tryouts started, it's 5 days a week. So we've done a tremendous amount of work already this year, regardless of how the rest of the season plays out. We've put a ton of work in as coaches and a ton of work in with the kids when we have seen them. And I just want to make that kind of clear and known.
Sure, absolutely.
And by doing that, you develop a relationship with these kids, and and you miss out on all that stuff.
Absolutely. It's setting these student athletes, these young ladies up for success, for future success, through your efforts and all that. In closing, guys, I would like to ask you, is there anything that you would like to leave your student athletes or your parents or your families of softball or Firestone in general? I'll start with you, Coach Moxon.
Could you repeat the question again? I'm sorry.
I would like to, in closing, what would you like to leave your families, your parents, and your student athletes with? Any words of encouragement? Anything in particular you'd like to put out?
On the good side, we'll see all these kids hopefully next year. Worst case scenario. Mm-hmm. So, the work we put in now is not by the wayside for sure.
Sure.
We'll hopefully have some summertime engagements. Because coaches can still coach up until the no contact period, which is in August for softball. So hopefully we'll still have some times this summer we'll take advantage of, considering we lost a lot of time this spring.
Sure.
And we'll just build upon what we have and, look towards next year and have a good year next year for sure.
Well, thanks, Joe. I appreciate that. Coach Deese.
Yeah, just the same. I mean, it's just the beginning. Unfortunately and fortunately, we only have one senior. So it is just the beginning. The foundation is there. We will be back. We still have our spirit wear orders that we're waiting on to be delivered. So it's not going away. But we just got to stay positive and stay healthy and get through this together.
Well, hey, coaches, I really appreciate it. What you do is what Falcon Pride is all about: engaging our student athletes, setting them up for success, and creating an opportunity for them to still come together, although it be virtually. What you're doing is, I think, forward thinking. And as a parent of as a softball team member, I would like to say thank you to both of you for the things that you guys are doing. And again, reaching out in the community with your fellow coaches and all that, that's pretty cool. So, guys, I appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Todd.
Todd.
Okay, go Falcons, go Firestone.
Go Falcons.